Welcome to Cultimatum, the podcast that delves deep into the culture and complexities of cults and human trafficking. Your hosts are myself, Anonymous Andrew, and Melody. Each week we explore different facets of cult life and human trafficking.
And I'm Melody. Having experienced the trauma of a cult firsthand, specifically the House of Yahweh, I'm here as an advocate for fellow survivors. My journey has inspired me to help others who find themselves in similar situations.
Our podcast is committed to respecting our guests' privacy. To ensure their comfort and safety, our guests can choose to remain anonymous or use a fake name.
And Andrew, before we get started, we also want to issue a trigger warning. Some episodes may contain potentially disturbing subjects such as sexual abuse, rape, human trafficking, suicide, and other sensitive topics. Discretion is advised.
Welcome to Cultimatum, the culture of cults and human trafficking. And we're back with episode or part 2 of our interview with Danielle Storm, from an ex-member of TFU. And we never got around to asking her in the first part, and we did during the break. Danielle, how long has it been since you've left TFU?
Not very long, about 3 weeks.
Wow. So
Wow.
Tell us, how did you leave? What was that like, and what was the process?
So I left cold turkey. I was like, I have got to get out of this, because it was after going through jail and everything that happened to me. I was like, I have to stop. And actually, it was a condition to be able to leave jail. My mom was like, you can't do this anymore if we bail you out. So I also had no choice. So it was between the two, and I was like, fine. You know what I mean?
So your mom bailed you out?
Yes. My mom ended up bailing me out of jail. And had it not been for my mom, I wouldn't have had anybody to bail me out of jail.
Well,
and
let's back up. Let's back up. Tell how you got in jail. I'm curious to hear that story.
I got introduced to who I thought was just like a friend, but I guess he was saying that I'm just a stranger to her. I just introduced her at the open mic, and I was like, well, maybe this person is a lot like me. And it was weird because I had this person in my head for whom my twin flame was. And the person that was in my head that I felt like I hadn't met before. I was like, I've never met this person. They were just in my head constantly. It was weird. They were just like me. They worked for all 3 of the theme parks like me. And they also were an actor and a comedian. And they did tech on the side, and they did lights professionally in tech for all of the theme parks, but they worked predominantly at the time for Disney. And I knew all this stuff about this just random person that I never met, that they were also a therapist, and they went to Disney all the time, you know what I mean? And it was just so many different scattered, the alcoholism that I thought they had, the cocaine addiction, and then I met someone that seemed like they fit the bill. And I was like, oh my God, I think this person might be the real deal. So I told my coach, I met someone that is exactly I showed them a picture. They were like, you should pursue that. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, I can keep seeing him because he's there every Sunday. So they were encouraging me to show up, go, communicate, reach out. When I was getting communication back, which was just him saying, don't contact me, I only got the one text. He said he sent me 2 others. I never got them. But that one text, I was like, oh my God, there's communication. Oh my God, he talked to me this day. You know what I mean? And it was just and I didn't think that it bothered the guy at first. I was like, well, he's not doing anything about it. So, and I'm going up in person. I don't think that this is an issue at all.
What were you saying to him?
It was just I didn't even know what I was saying. I was just saying random stuff. I don't even remember. It's all in the Aphrodite.
Were you infatuated with him?
Yeah, I was infatuated and obsessed with him. Like, I thought this is the man I'm going to marry. And the friggin' part was he was with someone. Like, he made it clear, like, I have someone. And so it was really weird. You know what I mean? Because, like, I knew that my twin flame had, like, 2 kids. You know what I mean? And I was like, this is a twin flame. This is the person, you know, because he's got 2 kids. And I was like, well, maybe this is the guy. And the fact that they told me to pursue, and then I ended up in jail for stalking. And because I have so many Facebook profiles, they were like, oh, we're also going to add misuse of personal identification to the 2nd degree for having multiple Facebook profiles, which good luck proving that. Like, because I didn't open up anything, like commit any real fraud. And that looks really, really bad, by the way, to like anybody. So, but yeah, the felony was for misuse of personal identification, and the misdemeanor was stalking.
I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, me neither. Not a lot of the people who worked at the jail were like, "What is this charge and why?"
And it's a felony?
It's a felony to the 2nd degree. I was like, "How can they prove that with Facebook accounts?" Like, because you know there are a lot of people that need felonies, though. Then because like a lot of people have fake names on the internet. Like, celebrities will put in like their fake name and then have like their real name. You know what I mean? Or like their stage name. And like the sad part was most of the I only have 3 main Facebook accounts, and they're all different variations of my own name.
I know one of them.
Yeah, you know that one, and then the other one that I have is my dad's last name, and the other one is my middle name. So So you don't know the other 2 yet. I'll add you on those 2 because those ones are active.
Well, I think law enforcement has a tendency to do that to try to get charges to stick. It's a tactic.
Trumped them up, yeah.
Yes, right. Yes, trumped up charges because they want the charges. I knew that. I was like, but we all think it's going to get dropped anyways, thankfully, because of the fact that I already disproved the credible threat. They need to prove stalking. So he's really got no case to prove.
Let's talk about that. So you ultimately did jail time for 20 days for one stalking or multiple?
One stalking.
So that was that one person with the 2 kids. He brought charges?
And it mentioned in the affidavit that she thinks that we're twin flames. Like, it mentioned it in there.
So you mentioned that to him in your communication. Like, he talked about it in court, too. Meaning that he...
yeah, I did.
That was the reason...
I said that was the reason.
Flames. Okay. And did he know... Did he know that you were a member of TFU, and did that have anything to do with him bringing the charges against you?
No, he didn't know about any of that. He barely knew me. He didn't know that I was a member of TFU. He didn't know that I was in a cult. I'm sure if he had known all of that, like, this would have gone down way differently. You know what I mean? But he had no idea.
Yeah. I mean, I would hope that he would have given you a little bit more grace.
Oh, I would have. If somebody was stalking me and then I found out that you were a victim of a cult and were being manipulated, I'd be a little bit more lenient.
Right.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like you were threatened. So I hate to ask this, Danielle, but give us an example of some of the stalking, such a vague word. Did you go to his house at night?
No.
Did you? No. So
no. I didn't send him any packages. I didn't go to his house. I didn't follow him. I didn't do any of that stuff. All I did was send text messages, and I said in one threatening message, apparently, that if he bans me from this mic, that he'll just go missing. Like, and it was a joke. It was at an open mic comedy, and I have a conversation with because it was a 3-person conversation. There wasn't just like one person. I was talking to another person, like, involved, like, that I went to go pick up, actually. And like, I have it on recording of him saying, like, this was all a joke. Like, so I already disproved it in court. He doesn't have a credible threat.
Oh.
So he got a restraining order?
Mm-hmm.
And you broke that? Is that how...
No, I haven't broken it at all. I've stayed away from him and not...
So how did you end up in jail? What was the criteria? How did you get arrested and brought to jail?
because he had a credible threat. If they had just been text messages, like he didn't have enough for harassment. Yeah, but because of that one threat that I made, they took that seriously and they booked me in jail.
What did TFU do? Were they aware? Did you reach out to them?
No, because I was in jail. Like, I didn't have anybody's phone number or anything. I couldn't call, but they didn't try to bail me out either. You could have looked it up. It's easy to look up where she is, you know what I mean? And they could have, looked up at any point my name because they knew my name. Like, it's not like they don't. And they could have figured out I was in jail, and that's why I wasn't responding, And they hired the money to bail me out. That's the sad part.
Oh,
what was the
I'm
bail?
sure they did.
Do you remember?
$750. Yeah. That's pocket change.
I doubt they would have paid
for them.
Yeah.
I don't think
they didn't.
I don't think money doesn't flow in that direction.
There's plausible deniability. If he bails you out, he's admitting that. Oh, I don't know.
That a culpable party or something.
Complicit. I think the word is complicit. He's complicit with the crime.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking.
Yeah, that sounds.
I don't know that for sure. Obviously, I got to.
I didn't even think of that.
But
if
he didn't know, if he didn't know, we can't. I never thought I'd come to his defense. But if he didn't know, then he couldn't have even made a decision. So, you were there for 20 days. Was that what the judge said, or that was 20 days because you couldn't get bail?
I couldn't get out bail. Like, nobody would bail me out.
So
the people who did know, like, one of them just got out of jail himself, so he couldn't bail me out at the time. And that was the person I was seeing. And then the other person didn't have the money. So, like, because it was such a high amount, like, that's why it was so hard to get me bailed out.
Are you out on bail awaiting trial?
Yes.
And so ultimately your family bailed you out?
Yes. Okay. If it had not been for my family, I'd still be in jail right now.
Do you have a lawyer?
Yeah, I do. I would like a real lawyer. But she is a real lawyer, but she's with the
public defender.
With the public defender.
Again, Melody, you're going to hear me say this. I may be watching too many Netflix movies or whatever, but I would think a good lawyer will plead the case that you were brainwashed by TFU for this.
I'm going to send this to my lawyer after this, actually, and then we can share this with the judge, hopefully. You want to write a letter, go for it. I could use it.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, anybody wants to write a letter and say, free me.
I mean, ideally, in a perfect world, I feel like you should have a lawyer who's familiar with cults and cult tactics. And I think that would
I don't know if she is or not, because I haven't talked to her enough.
I would ask her about that. And I would tell her, if you haven't gone and watched the documentaries on TFU, please go watch them, because this is what I was part of. And this is what influenced me to do what I did. And these are why I have these charges. And hopefully for your sake, the judge has watched these documentaries and is familiar with TFU. That would certainly work in your favor. I would hope.
I'm trying to get on like true crime documentaries, like something that a judge might, I don't know, maybe you'll see it. I don't know. Hopefully. This is going on iTunes, right? Good.
Yeah, this will be on Apple Podcasts. Yes.
Good. All you have to do is look up my name.
Apple, Spotify, iTunes.
So what?
Yep, all of them.
Yeah, Apple. Yeah, it's on every platform. What county or state did this happen in?
Orlando in Florida.
So you have been to Michigan?
No.
Oh, you've never been up there. Okay. I'm just still processing all this.
Your family member who bailed you out, were they coming to visit you while you were in jail? And what were those conversations like? Because I'm assuming you were still brainwashed at that point. I mean, obviously you're still deconstructing at this point in time.
They were telling me you cannot be a part of TFU. There was a lot of back and forth discussion about TFU. They were like, you can't be a part of it anymore. They were like, you have to get out. You are not allowed to do coaching anymore because it's caused, my mom knew, it's, causing these behaviors. She wasn't dumb. And we had a discussion about it. I was like, yeah, I can't be doing this anymore because it's ruining my mental health. And like, they sat me down and they're like, obviously, it's making you crazy and insane and have all these fictitious beliefs. And I was like, absolutely. Like, it was just nerve wracking, during that time. And those were the conversations. Like, she was like, you have to attend Al-Anon so you can process things. And there were like real rules that I had to follow in order to post bail with my family.
Do you feel like it was helpful being in jail and being away from the influence of TFU and being away from the social media while you were there? Did that help you?
Honestly, yeah. Like, it was the detox I needed. I was also on a benzo at the time, and like, it was giving me like, it was helping me sleep, but like, I got off the benzo, like, I got healthier, like, I lost 20 pounds, like, I mean, like, it wasn't that bad being in jail. I don't want to be in jail ever again. That was kind of scary. Like, it was a scary time in my life, but that was where the healing process started for me. And had I not gone to, that's why I don't hate the person who put me in jail. I have forgiven them, and I have realized I needed that to happen to get out of the cult, because I would still be in the cult had I not gone to jail, and I would still be doing destructive behaviors and destructive things. And I wouldn't have gotten help. I wouldn't have found out about my disorder, which is schizophrenia, because like, I have blackouts, which cause me to overtext people, which is why I don't know what was in the text messages. But still, like, the fact that they were encouraging communication, you know what I mean? And I, because like, I found out that I'm schizophrenic, and I don't mind sharing that. And so,
who diagnosed you with that?
I went to an actual mental health evaluation, to get that diagnosis.
It's interesting that they came up with that diagnosis.
That's what I said.
I am not a mental health professional, but I ran a mood disorder support group for 15 years. I was part of a large organization for mental health. I'm not going to name them, but they're a national organization. I also am part of a suicide prevention organization, and I live with bipolar disorder. So I have a little background in that, and talking to you for the past 2 hours, are you medicated?
Yeah. Now I am.
Okay.
I just got a new medication though, because they just diagnosed me with it. So I immediately went on a medication for schizophrenia. And so it's still working. It's 3 days old, so bear with me.
And that medication usually takes several weeks to kick in.
It takes weeks to kick in.
Just again, not coming from, I am not a doctor, and I'm going to just put that disclaimer out there, but I don't sense any schizophrenia come. I've met schizophrenics. I've worked with schizophrenics.
What do you think? Like, I am interested to know what you think.
I don't know. I wouldn't venture to diagnose you, but I would say my opinion is that some of this behavior was really caused more from the brainwashing and the influence of the cult, potentially more so than a mental disorder problem. But I think that, but I'm not, again, I'm going to say what Andrew said. I'm not a professional either. So I don't want to undermine or tell you not to take your medication or anything like that, because I think you should at this point.
No, I would always
do what the professionals are telling you to do. Yes.
Absolutely. No, I'm not saying, I'm just saying I don't see any indications of it, but we just met today, so I can't.
Right.
But what I will say is something that we have been talking about, and why this podcast exists and why we investigate these cults, is that they take very young people, and TFU is not a religious cult. They are. They talk about God all the time.
Okay. They just don't know what the Bible is and haven't read it, apparently. I could talk about that too. They literally, the Bible says no adultery, and they literally tell people to pursue adultery, and that's your twin flame, go after them. In the comments under their posts about that kind of stuff. It's crazy.
Well, they also encourage transgender. They've actually had people, it was in the documentary that
Right.
I think it was 2 women, and they said that you have to take on the male gender role, and either have top surgery, whatever it was.
Yeah.
So
the masculine
that is
energy,
not,
and
yeah, that's not in the Bible. Come on.
I have a question. Since you've been out, and I know it hasn't been very long, and that's why I'm asking this specific question, because of my own experience being a cult survivor. Are you struggling? Is it hard for you to not go on the website? Are you still in that transition phase where you're like, should I go back? Do I really believe this? And are you teetering right now? Where are you?
Yeah, it's really hard. There are times where I'm like, oh, someone's my twin flame, like they're my divine masculine. Like there are times where I still have those moments where like I think it was just because for me, I wasn't clear about who mine is, which makes me different from everyone else. Cause like everyone else goes in like already kind of having an idea of who their twin was. But for me, I was like, it's this random person that I've never met before in my entire life. You know what I mean? Like I didn't think I met mine going in like everyone else.
Right.
So it was a very different process
how are
for
you
me. But there are
handling
times
that?
where I'll go back. There will be times where I will like it'll take a lot of resistance not to look up a twin flame question. You know what I mean? And I had to have my ex move in with me temporarily, only because he's been staying with me the past month, because it's been so difficult. And there have been times where I've wanted to like exhibit behaviors again, and then, or like I black out, you know what I mean? Because I'm so stressed out from everything that's happened. And then like, I don't remember what has happened, like what I wrote via text. But it messed me up. It made me so obsessive, like being in the cult, And
I have a question. Does Twin Flames have a cell phone app?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think they do.
So you say that your ex moved in with you.
Mm-hmm.
When were you two together? And was that, if you were together, were you seeking your twin flame while you were with your ex?
So we were in, so let me explain our relationship. So we got together in July 30th, 2020. We were in an open relationship after the first year. The first year I was still thinking other people were my twin flame. I didn't think that he was the one when I met him. He knows that. We have talked about it. But when I met him, like it was fine for the first year and a half, and then it started to get very abusive on his part. So he would have panic attacks and anxiety attacks and just screaming, yelling every time I would ask him. We had our problems. And that didn't help, like being in a toxic situation, but because he was financially supporting me and doing everything for me, it was really hard to get out of that. So like all while being in this cult, I was dealing with a really toxic relationship, and we're friends now. And he's 100% supportive, and he knows what happened now. Cause he knew what was happening, cause he was paying for everything. Like my ex was paying for the sessions and stuff, thinking that it was helping me when it really wasn't helping me at all. And it was just really difficult. We parted for a year, got back together. So we've been like off and on, together and not together. We're not together right now at all. But he is just here to help me while I'm getting on my new medication and deprogramming from the cult, because I needed a person here. And we had thought about getting a nurse for this time period, because I thought I might need assistance and stuff, because I've had such depression dips from leaving the cult. But it ended up being easier to just have him here to help.
I'm going to bring something up with Melody that I have talked about ad infinitum. Is law enforcement is looking the other way. So there are times when we've had people on, ex-members of JW, whatever, and there was a lot of sex, child abuse, or some sort of abuse with children, or rape, or adult rape, whatever, and they look the other way. Here is a completely different end of the spectrum, Melody, where we have a young woman in her 20s who was heavily influenced by a cult that she was vulnerable and sucked into by by the manipulation tactics that they have, and now she's an ex-con or has a potential criminal record. Maybe, I don't know if it'll be expunged at some point.
I hope so. Please let it be expunged and go away.
But where
this following me my whole life?
Where are the social services people now to help victims like Danielle?
Exactly what I want to know. Like, where are you?
Yeah,
where were you then?
That's an excellent question, Andrew, and I think that the next time you
because like having services provided by the government could have changed my life and prevented all this from happening.
Or even just having them now at this point, Danielle, you're still in it up to your neck. You could use some assistance, and I think that more than anything, if your lawyer doesn't have any expertise in the field of cults, I would ask, is there any social worker or somebody else that can be involved in your case and come testify on your behalf to explain how these organizations worked and the influence they had on you, which played such a huge part in your behaviors. I want to believe there's something out there.
I have my lawyer, but if
I would ask the lawyer. I
have my lawyer, but if you guys want to write a letter to the judge in detail, like, please do. Because you're experts on this stuff and you've researched it. So if you want to write a letter, I'm an
ex-cult member. I don't know how much of an expert it is, but I would be willing to help you by writing a letter for sure. 100%. I could do that.
Thank you.
I'll send it. Whether it'll help or not, I don't know. I mean, I can tell them that I have experience in a cult, and I run a cult support group on Facebook. So I can give my credentials in that way, and that Andrew and I have this podcast, but I'm with Andrew. I don't know, Andrew. I don't have an answer, but I feel like there's got to be somebody out there that would be willing to testify on her behalf to testify and say how much influence this organization had on the behaviors that put her where she was and caused the behaviors.
Right.
I'm wondering if there's a petition that can be started and circulated through all the Facebook group. Yeah.
Thank you.
A petition circulated among the Facebook group users or the groups that we belong to or run that are ex-cult members that can testify that this is real. The brainwashing tactics that they use are real. And
even you yourself,
I'm
Danielle,
completely brainwashed. Yeah.
I was going to say, you yourself are going to figure out that you are only beginning your deconstruction, that you're going to have these aha moments from probably months or years to come, to where you're going to realize, oh, they did this for that reason. Oh, that was more deliberate than I realized. Oh, they were trying to get me to do this. And it's going to be little bits at a time where you're going to keep having these realizations about why and how deliberate those actions really were. And the more, if you start doing research on cults and cult behaviors and cult leaders and how they work and the tactics they use, it's going to help you with your deconstruction as well. And if you're not a member of the Cult Escape and Recovery book or group on Facebook, I'm going to send you an invite, because I think that will help you as well. There are other groups out there for cult support too, but I think that you need to be in those kind of support groups right now too, along with your therapy, because
thank you so much. Yeah,
100%. I'm concerned for you.
There are two.
I'm glad you're here.
There are two that I know. Of. Facebook groups for ex-twin flame survivors or members. Are you a member of either of those?
No, but send me all the links and then I'll just join everything from my account. I had to rejoin the group from my other Facebook, but
I am a member of one of them, and I'll definitely post this episode in there.
Okay.
I just can't imagine somebody couldn't step forward to at least offer advice or legal advice.
Or I really feel like I wish somebody would come forward and testify on her behalf if there's some sort of hearing, and just say these charges should be dropped and these are the following reasons why. And especially
here's the reason why I'm going on this. I didn't talk to anybody. This is my fault. I didn't really talk to anybody either than my ex, about my involvement in TFU. Like, this was something that was like a dirty, dark secret that you keep in the back of your closet that you like don't tell your friends and family about. They knew that I liked Twin Flames, but there was no indication on how I got started with that or that I was a part of a cult. So nobody really knew, which makes it worse.
Well, wait. Maybe you didn't verbally communicate that, but did you join Twin Flame? You went to their website, you gave them your email, you sent them money. So there's a paper trail.
Yeah.
That you were.
Well, there's receipt of that on my PayPal, because
that should be able to help.
So I could.
That should be able to help in court.
Yeah.
I think. Wouldn't you think?
Mm-hmm.
I would bring that to your lawyer.
There's a paper trail. I wouldn't put it past them for them to delete you from their database somehow. Make you disappear, because they're not going to want to have any connection with you.
Mm-hmm.
But they can delete your name from their database. But if you, like you said, if there's a PayPal link, a PayPal paper trail or digital trail that you paid them money.
Oh, wow. What a story. This is a lot, isn't it, Andrew?
I could do a part 3. Like, I could definitely keep going on. Like, this is crazy.
Well, I'd like to throw out an idea that we spoke about during the break. Maybe we'll do a live stream.
Yeah.
In a couple. When is your trial set? Is there a date set?
No. It's 2 months past booking, and I haven't gotten a date set. I don't know.
Okay.
What are the conditions of your bail?
I have to be in Florida, and I can't leave the state. And
do you have an ankle bracelet?
I can't. No. Thank God.
No. Okay. I didn't know.
No, and I can't. I can't commit any more crimes. That kind of thing.
You probably can't contact the person involved.
No,
I'm sure.
I can't contact them. I've been trying to contact as few people as possible so that they don't have anything else on me. I was like, "Dear God,
good, good.
I can't go back."
Well, Danielle, this is a lot to deal with, because not only are you dealing with that and you're dealing with this jail stuff, you're at the same time you're in the process of deconstructing all of this cult brainwashing that you've experienced, and I'm sure that programming is not.
It's been a lot.
Not gone. It's not gone yet. And just
I have
knowing
to have
that
daily
you're still
therapy
struggling,
to get over it.
I can't even imagine. I want to say I can put myself there, because, like I said, I've been in a cult. I've left, and I've been in that transitioning stage where, I have 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Should I go back? Because you have a lot of anxiety when you leave. There's a lot of anxiety with just doing normal everyday things.
I feel like if it was anybody else in my position, they would be dead. But because it's me, because I have strength and tenacity, and because I can go through it, and because I know that at the end of the tunnel, there's a really great rainbow. Like, I converted to Christianity after I joined a church, which has helped me get over the cult. I found a group of supportive friends. So had it not been, I'm almost grateful for the experience, because it led me to God and Jesus, and to have a true understanding of religion, you know what I mean? And, which I'm also working on a book about it. So if anybody has any testimonies that they want to share, please come forward and let me know as well. And you might get to be in a book, because working on the book is going to be a very healing process for me. And I'm also starting to go on podcasts and things like that, and come out with my story and tell people what I went through. So hopefully that'll all help.
And again, I think what I'd like to do is make this podcast available. These 2 episodes we recorded, available to the Twin Flames Universe support groups on Facebook. Hopefully there'll be supporters in there that'll reach out to you. And I'll talk to Melody about maybe doing a live stream and have you come on and maybe answer questions.
Yeah, of course. I'd be open to that.
Yeah, I think that would be fantastic. That it might help you with the healing process. It might help you. It might help others.
Yeah.
That are,
Yes.
you know,
that's my goal, is to help people right now, because I don't want anyone else to have to go through what I went through. There are people in the groups posting, oh, my twin flame. Like, if you look up the word restraining order and theirs and in other groups, you'll see how many times this stuff is real and how they're like, I harassed my twin flame and they don't want me anymore and they've got a restraining order on me.
Yeah.
It happens all the time. There's so much evidence of it in that group and in the Reddit forum as well. So there's just an overwhelming amount of evidence that people go through it like me, but nobody wants to come forward and talk about it. I think it's because they're scared and because they're still in the cult.
Oh, right. Absolutely.
Because they're brainwashed. They're brainwashed like me. They don't realize that this stuff isn't real.
Danielle,
I don't think I said it. I don't think I said it when we were recording, but when I did the pod series on TFU, nobody from an ex-member would come forward. Now, again, they may have had a non-disclosure agreement, or maybe they had a something with Amazon or Netflix I spoke to people in the documentary and we negotiated, and I actually had one that said yes, and then she backed out at the last minute. So I don't know if she spoke to a lawyer or somebody and said, no, you shouldn't do that. Maybe there's some legal matter, but nobody was willing to come forward because I think in the end, like you said earlier, TFU can be very antagonistic. They can right. make your life miserable if they want to.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to make a suggestion. I don't know how helpful this would be, but Danielle, I would suggest that you print off some of these things that you're finding online about the twin flames and how it's associated with similar charges to yours, and your experience with the cult, and the receipts that you've have for coaching sessions and stuff with them. And I would bring all that to your lawyer, and that as part of your evidence, and say, I'm in the process of deconstructing from this brainwashing, and I think this all is part of the evidence of my defense.
Right. Yeah.
Be your own advocate. Yes, be your own advocate. If nobody else is going to do it for you, you know that information's out there. Bring that with you.
I have another idea that I don't know anything about this. I just hear it on the internet. But how about a GoFundMe page to hire a lawyer that is an expert in this kind of stuff?
Yeah, and to pay for my mental health. Like, if anybody wants to chip in and pay me back for that, like, go for it.
Yeah,
I spent a fortune.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad idea. I think that you could go set up a GoFundMe page, and I think there are people out there that would help for sure. Yeah, that's not a bad idea, Andrew. I like that idea too. So, wow, Danielle.
Or if someone else wants to set it up for me.
Let me ask you this. So you're out on bail. You don't have a trial date yet, but as far as you know, it's going to trial. Did they offer you?
I don't think it's going to trial. Like, I don't think they have enough evidence for that.
So what are they going to plea bargain?
Probably. I've never had a crime before in my life, or a criminal record before, so I'm assuming.
What's the worst you're looking at?
1 year. But the worst that I'm looking at for the felony that I don't think they have evidence for, and my lawyer doesn't think they have evidence for, is 15 years.
Wow. My guess is that is put on there. That was put on there to almost force you to plea, or to plea to the other charge, and get you to get you on something, to get something to stick. That would be my guess. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So let's try to wrap up and end on a somewhat of a positive note, and you've already spoken on it a little bit, Danielle. What kind of words, what do you want to leave the audience with? What would be your words of advice for maybe somebody who's listening to this that is still a member of TFU right now? And what is the overall message you want to give, or your goal of speaking out and sharing about your story?
Get out before it gets worse. Get out before it affects your mental health. Get out before it affects your life with your family. Get out before people start to call you crazy, insane, and delusional. Okay? You need to get out, because if you start to get really involved and into it, I promise you the same thing that'll happen to me will happen to you. So you need to get out now. And you need to find healing, support, therapy. There are resources out there. There are groups out there to help you, because this is 2024. Okay, you need to actually do the work and heal, right? And care about your mental health, and not do the extra programs like the MAP and the Divine Dish and the summits. Don't pay for it. For the love of God, get out. That is what I have for people.
Danielle, I had a question for you earlier, and I don't remember if it was in the part 1 that we did or part 2, but you had mentioned that you go to Al-Anon.
Yeah, I do.
Al-Anon is for family members of alcoholics. How does that fit in this picture?
Because in my delusions and hallucinations, a lot of the stuff that I was talking about had to do with an alcoholic and a cocaine addict that I kept talking about randomly. So that's why I had to go to Al-Anon. And my mom said we have a history of alcoholism in her family. So that was
okay.
And is this an ex-boyfriend?
That had nothing to do with TFU. That's why I didn't.
Okay.
An ex.
Okay. An ex that you were with. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah, you've been through a lot. That's putting it lightly. Okay.
Yeah, I go through a 12-step program myself, so that's why I want to try to make that connection. Why they were suggesting you go to Al-Anon, but now it makes sense.
I'm not an alcoholic or anything. It's an alcoholics survivors, like friends and family of alcoholics.
Yes. I have attended Al-Anon meetings. My dad died of alcoholism, so I have experience with that, and I know exactly what Al-Anon is. There's actually Al-Anon, there was anyway, Facebook support groups as well for Al-Anon people. So it's a good resource that's out there, and it could be helpful to other people too. And I think that it has twofold for you, because I think it probably is helping you deal with some of the cult deconstruction as well. Because there are certainly some parallels there. So, anything in
I think
closing?
it's safe to say this story is not over yet. And I'd like to leave it out there that maybe part 3 will be a live stream. This won't air for a couple of weeks, but once it airs, let's see where you are in your legal status, or if anything has transpired between now and then. And if we can, we'll go live on Facebook maybe, or
and if not, maybe we'll just have you back to. Yeah, maybe we'll just have her back, even just as a regular episode, even just to do a follow up with what happens with all of this, and give the audience a follow up on, because I'm even curious how this is all going to play out with you. So we'd love to have you back, even if it's not live, in whatever capacity that we could work out.
Yes.
So.
Agreed.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Danielle, for coming on.
We can't begin to thank you for sitting with us for 2 hours and sharing all of this. And I wish you nothing but the best of luck. And we will do what we can with the connections we have on Facebook to see if there's any kind of support we can give you.
Thank you.
Yep.
God, my brain is just racking through the things that.
Oh, I know. Me too.
Imagine being me.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yes. Well, yeah. Danielle, I as a cult survivor myself, I am just, my mind is almost blown at the fact that you're stepping forward like this and so willing to share your story 3 weeks out, less than a month out.
Yeah.
So I hope that this is part of your healing journey. I just don't want
other people to. It is. I don't want other people to have to go through what I did, and I realized very quickly I need to prevent this now. Talk about it now.
Danielle, you dropped a YouTube video 6 or 7 days ago, or maybe a little longer by now. Was that about approximately the time you got out of jail?
Mm-hmm. No, that was after I got out of jail. May, somewhere around the end of May, the second to last week in May.
All right. Yeah, because Melody sent me the video you did, and I was impressed by that video. How well spoken you were. It sounded to me like you had your shit together. And
Yeah, I was starting to get it together. I deleted that video because I still had people on my Facebook from the cult, and I was like, oh, like, so I will post something. Like, I have the video still saved on my Mac, so I'll probably just re-upload it after.
But I watched it this morning on YouTube.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, well, then it's still there. Never mind.
Yeah.
It's still there. Just kidding. I thought I deleted it. Maybe I deleted the link off Facebook and not off YouTube.
Yeah. No, It's still on YouTube. I watched it this morning.
How many views did it get? I didn't check.
It was over 200.
Several hundred. Up.
Holy crap, really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Maybe, I think upwards of 300. I think it got.
Wow.
And it said 6 days ago. So that's,
That's a short time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, Danielle.
All right. Thank you. And we're going to be in touch. And, of course, we'll let you know when this airs. But we'll be in touch about the next phase of this story. We're not done. We are not done.
Yep. We're not done. And all I'm going to say, Danielle, is if you have any desire to reach out or step back into the TFU universe, I'm going to say, post something on a support group, reach out to a friend, a family member. Heck, I'm going to offer myself to send me a Facebook message. I'm willing to talk to you. And if you are just feeling like you're lost and you're needing something, don't turn back to them. Just, there are other resources, and reach out to anybody. Yes. You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
You need to join the 2 Facebook groups that I'm aware of. I'm sure there's several, but there's Twin Flames ex-member support group that I belong to, and I'm sure they'd be more than happy for you to be a part of their group. I'm gonna when we release this podcast, this episode, I'm gonna post it there, so they'll reach out to you. So, okay, ladies, thank you again so much.
Yes, thank you, Danielle.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, once again, we want to thank Danielle so much for coming on the show and being so willing to share her story, so fresh out of this group, and still so much unknown going on in her life right now that she's, trying to sort out. And we really do hope that after she goes to court and gets this figured out, she's going to come back and give us a part 3, because I'm sure we all want an update. I know Andrew and I do.
And she talked about putting a book together. She's in the process of writing a book. And we invited her back when her book is published to come back and talk about that and promote the book. So I am looking forward to that.
So we might have 4 parts for Danielle. Who knows? Because I'm hoping we might get by the end of summer, early fall, we can get an update on how her court case is going. And then maybe whenever her book comes out, which I doubt she'd have it ready by this fall, but so we might have 4 parts for Danielle, which, she's got an interesting enough story. She's got enough to tell that I think that she's worth 4 episodes.
Yeah. And I'd like to ask the audience that, because when we did the original investigation into Twin Flames on the Anonymous Andrew podcast, I did 7 episodes, but I could not get an ex-member of TFU or a family member to come on. And I understand at that time there were several factors, like there was the documentaries, there might have been some non-disclosure agreements, there may have been some legal issues, some people might have been paid. But bottom line is we couldn't get anybody to step forward. It is now, I don't think it's quite a year yet, but it's been a while since we did that. And now we're on our own show. And the fact that Danielle stepped forward, I'm asking if anybody in the audience is listening that you are an ex-member of Twin Flames Universe, ex-member or family of somebody maybe still in, and you are looking for a platform to vent or voice or tell your story, please contact us. We would love to give you that opportunity.
Absolutely. And you can email us at cultimateumpodcast@gmail.com, or you can also reach out to Andrew through his anonymous Andrew page or the Cultimatum Facebook page. You can message us on there. So wherever it's easiest for you to reach out to us, just feel free. Andrew and I are out there and available. Also Instagram, TikTok, any of those places you can leave messages. So whatever's easier for you. If you've got a story you'd like to share, I'm sure you've got a unique experience. You might have some similarities to Danielle's, but not everybody's story is the same. So we'd love to hear your story too if you're out there and you are at the point where you feel like that would be part of your healing process. We'd love to have you on the show. Once again, we want to thank everyone for tuning into Cultimatum. Your support is always greatly appreciated. Please take a moment to rate our podcast on platforms such as Apple and Spotify. And if you could also rate the show on Apple, that helps us out as well. Don't forget to follow, share, and keep listening to all of our latest episodes.
You can also show your support by joining our Facebook group called Cultimatum. If you'd like to share your story with us, you can email us at cultimateumpodcast@gmail.com.
And once again, we have expanded our social media platforms to include Pinterest, Instagram, and TikTok. Feel free to reach out and join us on there. And for additional support and resources for ex-cult members, you can consider joining the Cult Escape and Recovery group on Facebook.
And if you'd like to hear more of me, or you'd like to be on my show as a guest, if you have a dating story or romantic disaster story or anything romantic, you can contact me at the anonymous Andrew podcast@gmail.com. And Melody, what a great 2-part episode we did. And
yes,
let's hope that she'll come back when she writes the book, and we'll talk to everybody next week.
Yes, thank you. And thank you again to Danielle for her bravery in coming forward.
Yes.
We appreciate that.